This work is typically done within a circle, so I would invite everyone within this group who would like to circle up with me and start exploring the principles of Hellinger's systemic constellation work. This approach to family systems work is very unique and very innovative. Family systems have enormous power and strong bonds. The power within a family is able to affect every behavior of individuals within the family system, regardless of what the behavior is. Unlike other approaches to family systems work, this does not include healing, which may sound strange. Part of the therapist's role has been to sometimes rescue their clients, help their clients so that they heal. Part of what this kind of work does is it allows for a moment to see truth rise so that a client who is doing this work will see the truth. And within the truth, they're able to see it, they're able to know it, and they're able to tell it. And this is invisible forces that come up. And it's phenomenal because as they become aware of what we call entanglements, parts of themselves that is entangled with the past generation, once they can see that, then that creates healing on a spiritual, a physical, and emotional level. And part of this work, there's a wonderful phrase that says, the peace of the dead is dependent on the living, and the wellness of the living is dependent on the dead. And if someone has a lot of discomfort in their life, if there's a lot of pain and a lot of dysfunction, many times they're carrying energy or they're carrying circumstances that don't belong to them. So this work is a wonderful way of revealing and resolving issues that people can be carrying for a lifetime, literally. According to Hellinger, he said 70% of all the problems and issues that people experience has to do with being entangled within a family member, and that it's not able to be resolved unless you look at the whole family structure. Once we have all family members, both past and present generation, in what we call their place, then the healing can happen. And then the recent or the immediate family doesn't need to carry the burdens that they may have been carrying. This has been a summary of what Hellinger constellation work is all about, and what I would like to do is ask people if they have any questions. Part of this work, it's more experiencing what we call a constellation rather than talking about it. And I've noticed with experience that because we live in a very heady society and we depend a lot on our mind needs to be satiated, so to speak, so that it's able to allow healing to happen. So the questions are part of you asking a question and feeling comfortable enough to be able to see what this work is about. And it brings more clarity and more wisdom to the work.
Catherine, what is a constellation exactly, and what do I need to do to get ready for that?
Thanks, Frank. That's a great question of what constellations are and how you can prepare yourself for it. What a constellation is, if you were to come up as a client and want to work on an issue within your family or an issue with your relationships, or perhaps you're not happy with your job, what I would have you think about, if we're going to do family one, is I would want you to think 3 questions. 1, who within your family has been excluded and needs to be re-included again in order for the healing and the well-being of both you as a client and your family? 1 question. The second question is, who has sacrificed themselves within your family, such as premature death, suicide, automobile accident, that needs to be honored for their sacrifice in order for the healing of you and for your family? The third question is, if you looked in your mind's eye the placement of your family, is everyone in the order that they need to be in, which means the father, mother, if you are in a traditional family, and then the siblings on down according to age. And later I'll talk more about what we call the orders of love. And then I would want you to think about what intention you want. And one primary question is, if your life were to change, if you, for instance, were to have a more fulfilling relationship, what would that look like for you? Because sometimes we can ask for a change and it happens, and we can cause a disruption in our system, and we end up sabotaging ourselves. So with the constellation, we can either do it individually, where you use visualization in your mind's eye, or we can do it within a group setting, and depending on what it is, what issue we're working on, you would choose people from the group to be what we call representatives, to stand in either for family members and yourself, or to stand in for circumstances in your life.
Catherine, what principles is this work based on?
Lindsay, that's a great question. What are the principles that are involved in this work? Hellinger found, as he did his work, that a phenomena started showing up which he termed orders of love. And this has to do with all systems, and orders being natural tendencies towards something. The first order of love, and there are 3 of them, the first order of love is that everyone within a family system has the right to belong. Everyone. If someone gets excluded from the family, it creates an imbalance within the system. That's one. The second one is that there's equal giving and receiving, which means reciprocity. That if you, for instance, you're in a partnership, your partner will give love in a loving, conscious way, and the other partner will receive it and give back love, sometimes more. If a harm or a wrong has been done within a relationship, one wrongs another, then quite unconsciously the other will cause harm in order to get the balance. It's all about the balance. As far as the giving and taking with children, the responsibility a child has is only to take the love of the parent, and the responsibility of the parent is to give the love to the child. If a child, when they grow up, doesn't have children, then they give back by becoming servants or of service to their community. The third one is that everyone is in their rightful place, which means, in going back again to a traditional family, that the father is standing on the right, the mother is on the left, the oldest child, the next child, the next child. If it happens that, for instance, a term we use, someone may not have a backbone, if you have it reversed so that the father is on the left side and the mother is on the right side, it means that the mother is taking the position of being the powerful one. And children sometimes, because parents may not have a backbone, can become what we call parentified. They make themselves bigger than their parents. Seeing someone who is very angry, seeing someone who's very self-righteous or judges their parents, that's a good indication that they've made themselves bigger than the parent and they're not in their place. So if, for just a lack of just a thought, is to think in your own mind's eye what the placement of your own family is. And all of us can kind of conjure that up if we look in our mind, the placement, and this is done on a very intuitive level. So those are the orders of love. So we look to see if any of those are out of balance, and part of this work is able to bring balance back in again to the family system.
Catherine, do I need to bring other family members to do a constellation?
And the beauty of this work is that other family members don't need to come in order to feel the results, the resolution, and the healing of this work.